Hello, guys. Today's episode is going to be fully complete breakdown of the events that has unfolded in the Nancy Guthrie case from day one up until the present, and due to the lack of the information out there right now in the case, I figured I would just give you a complete and concise overview of everything we know so far and then what to expect moving forward. So let's get into it. Sorry about that. Nancy Guthrie, 84, a resident of Catalina Foothills near Tucson, Arizona, was last seen on January 31st, 2026. She was an elderly woman with limited mobility and relied on daily medications, which made her sudden disappearance especially alarming. Deputies responding to her home the following day discovered bloodstains near the entrance, and her doorbell security camera had been deliberately removed, suggesting that she did not leave voluntarily. The family members had reported her missing after she failed to attend a planned activities could not be reached, prompting the authorities to launch a full-scale abduction investigation and secure the home as a crime scene as well. In the initial stages of the investigation, however, law enforcement focused first on media evidence collection and neighborhood canvassing. The investigators photographed the scene, collected the blood and DNA samples, and they documented all the trace materials and potential points of forced entry. The surveillance footage from nearby homes and businesses was reviewed, revealing a masked armed individual near Nancy Guthrie's front door shortly before her disappearance. These images were publicly released to solicit leads, but no identification of the suspect was made at the time. Federal partners, including the FBI, were contacted to cross reference biological evidence against national databases, while the digital forensic teams began reviewing potential phone, internet, and electronic activity linked to the household and surrounding area. By the first week of February, the authorities had expanded their canvassing and their efforts across the Catalina Foothills area. The investigators sought witnesses who might have seen suspicious vehicles or individuals near the residence. The surveillance images suggested that the suspect acted with a high degree of preparation, wearing gloves and tampering with the doorbell camera, indicating prior knowledge of a reconnaissance. The authorities emphasized the importance of these precautions, noting that while the suspects attempted to avoid leaving fingerprints, the biological material was still recovered at the scene, and the DNA testing confirmed that the material did not match Nancy Guthrie or any known associates, and officials indicated that advanced genealogical analysis could take months to produce viable leads. During the second week of February, the additional developments emerged in the investigation. A ransom note was sent to a local news station, raising questions about a possible financial motive. Law enforcement has not verified the note's authenticity, and the investigators have not publicly confirmed whether it was directly tied to the abduction or as a diversionary tactic. There were volunteers in the community who began organizing search efforts in surrounding areas, which led to the discovery of a torn backpack near a storm drain. This item was submitted to authorities for forensic analysis, though it did not match the exact model seen in surveillance footage. Around the same time, the gloves resembling those worn by the masked suspect were recovered roughly 2 miles, I think, from the residence, yet the authorities have not publicly confirmed any definitive forensic link to the suspect or to the DNA found at the home. By the third week of February, the investigators continued methodically analyzing the forensic evidence and canvassing for any additional leads, and law enforcement maintained that no family members were considered persons of interest, while emphasizing that the focus remained solely on identifying the suspect and locating Nancy Guthrie. A reward money for credible tips was increased to more than $200,000, reflecting both the seriousness of the hope that the public cooperation could generate actionable information, and the authorities reiterated that the investigation remained active and growing, and that all avenues from surveillance reviews to forensic analysis continued to be pursued. And despite these efforts, several critical questions remain unanswered. Who is the masked individual captured on surveillance footage, and was the removal of the doorbell camera indicative of a prior reconnaissance or insider knowledge of the home security? What is the source and significance of the identified DNA, and does it belong to the perpetrator, an incidental contact, or a previously unknown third party? Are the gloves and backpack recovered connected to the suspect or the abduction in any way? Was the ransom note authentic? And if so, why was there no immediate follow up or confirmed demand? Was Nancy Guthrie specifically targeted due to personal, financial, or situational factors? Or was this a crime of opportunity? And finally, what occurred in the house hours following the initial abduction, including potential escape routes, vehicle movements, or surveillance evidence that has not yet been released? Analyzing the suspect's profile based on public released evidence, it appears the individual acted with preparation and forethought. The suspect wore gloves, was armed, and removed the doorbell camera, suggesting knowledge of counter surveillance and a methodical approach. The incident occurred during low visibility hours, indicating comfort operating at night and an awareness of the need to avoid witnesses. Physical evidence suggests that the suspect was capable of exerting sufficient force to restrain an elderly adult while leaving behind biological materials that may provide the breakthrough needed for identification. Additionally, the discovery of potential evidence within a 2-mile radius hints at a local familiarity with the area. Although the investigators have not confirmed the suspect's geographic knowledge, the case demonstrates the nature of a high priority abduction investigations. Authorities are combining traditional investigative methods such as neighborhood canvassing and witness interviews with modern forensic and digital techniques, including DNA analysis, genealogical testing, and traffic or surveillance camera review. Every recovered item, from blood evidence and gloves to the backpack and surveillance images, carries potential significance, yet no single piece has produced a definitive lead. With no arrests, no named suspects, and critical questions still unanswered, the investigations highlights both the importance of careful evidence handling and the challenges of resolving abductions where immediate identification is not possible. Now, as the investigation continues, law enforcement urges the public to provide any credible information that may help identify the suspects or locate Nancy Guthrie. The large reward remains in place to incentivize tips, and authorities continue to follow every lead methodically. While forensic analysis and digital forensics may take each step, which will take each step critical as a critical piece of the larger puzzle, for those following the case, it remains crucial to rely on official statements and verified evidence, and avoiding speculation or rumor that could hinder the investigation or compromise potential leads. Nancy Guthrie's disappearance remains a deeply concerning and closely watched case, not only because of the unknown whereabouts of an elderly woman, but the calculated actions of an unidentified suspect. The timeline of events, of forensic developments, and unanswered questions are all a point to a meticulous ongoing investigation. We will continue to track verified updates, official statements, and forensic breakthroughs as they come available. For continuous coverage, structured timelines, and fact-based reporting on Nancy Guthrie and other major investigations, subscribe to the Unfiltered Political Lens podcast and share this report to ensure the focus remains on the credible, verified information. Every detail matters, and any lead, any lead could be the key to solving this case and bringing Nancy Guthrie home safely. Thank you.